Call this meeting to order. This is the regular Town Council meeting of the Town of Indian River Shores, May 22, 2025. We will start with the invocation. Councilmember Carroll.
We're thankful for this town and its residents. We're grateful for all who work for the betterment of our community and all who serve on its behalf. Let those who work here and those who serve here be ever mindful of the town's vision and mission statement. Grant this council the wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times, the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement, a sense of the welfare and true needs of our people, personal peace in our lives, and joy in our task. Amen.
Amen.
Mayor Foley. Here. Vice Mayor Atwater.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll. Here. Councilmember Altieri. Here. Councilmember Dane. Here. Let the record show all members are present.
Welcome, everyone. Item number 2. Are there any requests to reorder the agenda, any deletion requests, or emergency additions? Seeing none, is there a motion and a second to approve?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Terrific, thank you. Item number 3, we have a very special presentation today, Municipal Clerks Week. And is anybody from the association here? It's, all right, well, you're gonna, our own clerk, Janice Rutan, will be taking the proclamation. And when one gets involved in the decision to run, the first thing you learn is how important the clerk is, because they tell you how to run, they tell you what you need to file, they work you through all the processes that that involve the perfection of your paperwork. You keep us, you being the collective clerks, keep us apprised of developments that we need to have. The paperwork that goes into the job is manifest. It's very obvious to elected officials. And the thing that I always notice is that politicians can disagree, and it's in our nature to kind of disagree about everything and nothing at all. Clerks get along. So if non-coms run the Army, clerks run government, and it's amazing how you share information in a very collaborative and wonderful way. You have periodic luncheons that actually work for the betterment of government for us. So this proclamation is a general proclamation for Municipal Clerks Week, but it's a specific proclamation, at least on my behalf, and I'm sure the rest of the council agrees, thanking you for the job you do for us and make us better elected officials and the town better. So the proclamation is that this is the 56th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and we'll get right to the guts of it, which is now therefore the Town Council of the Town of Indian River Shores do recognize Professional Municipal Clerks Week and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerk, Janice C. Rutan, and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities that they represent, dated this 22nd day of May, 2025, on behalf of the Indian River Town Council. So if anybody else would like to say a few words, feel free. We can start down there.
It's the newest folk here. It's sometimes difficult to move into a new position and not, you don't have all of the information that you need as to protocol and what's coming up. So I rely heavily on Janice, and she does a wonderful job. And besides that, she accompanies me to the League of City meetings, and which we did yesterday, and I'll address that later. And I can also attest that she's a very good driver. So, so anyway, thank you, Janice.
Thank you very much.
Our town council and our town are blessed to have a dynamic duo that's the glue here. Lucy, who we all know and love, and Janice, who really keep the trains running on time. They do a wonderful job. They're a wonderful face to our community and could be not more helpful to our constituents and to every member of the council. So Janice, thank you very, very much.
Mr. Mayor, I think your comment about the non-coms, excuse me, is completely appropriate. They keep the Army going, and Janice certainly does that. And we're also particularly blessed that in her past life, she was a town manager as well. So she brings that expertise for free. So does a great job all the time. I really appreciate you being here.
Janice, I knew 10 minutes into our interview that you were the right person for the job. You came across in such a professional manner. Your background and skill set speak for themselves, and I'm happy to say that your job performance over the course of your period of time here has exceeded my wildest expectations. So congratulations. We're lucky to have you, and it's great having you being a part of our team.
So we've just turned Municipal Clerks Week into Municipal Clerks Year, but that's okay. We'll deal with that. Item number 4, are there any comments from the public? That is, anything on the agenda? General comments we save for the end of the meeting. Okay, we can move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move. Second.
All right, moved by Councilmember Carroll, seconded by the Vice Mayor. We need a roll call vote because we do have 2 resolutions. Can you call the roll, please?
Mayor Foley?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Atwater?
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll?
Aye.
Councilmember Altieri?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Let the record show the motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to the mayor's report. Just a couple of brief items today. And I'll start by saying when, you know, if there's a school for mayors that the Florida League of Mayors does, they tell you, don't ever respond to articles you see in the newspaper, even if you really want to, unless there's a real compelling need to. And in this instance, there is. I just want to reassure the members of the public that contacted me that contrary to a report that was in our local paper, Indian River Shores is not falling into the ocean. The report has a fairly alarming headline that says Shores is vulnerable to severe flooding. It did alarm some folks that, you know, perhaps we were not doing all that we should be doing in order to prevent severe flooding. The article came from a routine vulnerability assessment. I call it routine. We kind of do these because we have to do it. Anybody who wants further information on the details of that can talk to the town manager and also resort to reading the minutes of the meeting where we have our consultant show up. So we're okay. When you get to the, you know, the important aspect of the article, you'll see that the headline is misleading at best. It basically takes out of context some snippets in the vulnerability assessment, which is designed to pretty much show worst case scenarios. And then you find out that, well, it's a Category 3 hurricane that resulted in some of the comments from the author of the article. So just to remind everybody, we live on the ocean. We live in the tropics. If a Category 3 hurricane has a direct hit, there's going to be flooding, okay? So, you know, that's just a fact of living in paradise here. But it is not anything to be alarmed about. It's not like, the council has not done everything that it should do to prepare for weather events, and we certainly do it. I think it was probably an article later in the paper, which was a reprint from the Washington Post, which also had some alarming things about insurance rates and things like that. But there's room for debate on some of these issues. But the the prediction of sea level rise that was given 30, 40 years ago has proven to be grossly overestimated. And NOAA just recently published a report conceding that, and they're kind of on the other side of this issue. We're going to do fine. We will certainly have some problems if we ever get a Category 3 or worse hurricane that's going to hit here. But that's just common sense. So don't worry, we're going to be fine. And we take all necessary precautions. And I think this council and past councils that I've been on have taken more actions than any of the other surrounding communities. And in fact, our rating, as the town manager can tell you if anyone cares to talk to him about it, is the best, if one of the best, if not the best in the area. So we're going to be fine. We're in good shape. Slow season is hit. Item number 2. There's less traffic, but it's still important to be careful. We don't see a huge amount of traffic emanating from where the new development is by the 7-Eleven, but you can see that there are construction vehicles going in and out of there. And there will be more of that over the summer, is my understanding, as they begin to pave those roads and do finishing touches on some of those buildings. So to all of our year-round residents, let's still be careful out there. Item number 3, I'm going to do this now instead of when Chief Stone gives his report later on, and that is that you probably noticed a number of recent items in the press that highlighted the excellent work that our public safety department did in investigating a fatal accident. I think it was referred to as a murder for hire. So this department and our wonderful Village by the Sea is doing an excellent job in keeping the citizens safe on so many fronts, and including traffic safety. I've noticed that even with the reduction in vehicular traffic, the road patrols are still very diligent. So thank you, and it's great to see our department so well touted. That's it. I will be happy to take any questions if any members of council have questions on any of the items I addressed, and if not, we can move to council member items. All right, let's move to council member items. Does anybody have an item that they wish to, Vice Mayor Alwater?
Yeah, I've been attempting to get a pedestrian activated crosswalk at the southern end of town, roughly in the CVS 7-Eleven area. Actually, it'd be a little bit north of that. That has gotten stalled by FDOT. I am bringing that up again because FDOT just hired a new bicycle pedestrian coordinator for the FDOT District 4. Her name is Martha Morales. They previously had a consultant in there, and as a backup, and anytime you have a consultant there, nothing gets done. I originally started this in January of 2024, and Mark Shaw assisted me on it. We had a follow-up call right at pretty much close to the beginning of the year, and it stalled. I had a discussion with Brian Freeman, the MPO staff director over at the county, and we're going to reinitiate. I resent all the material that I had put together. I put an analysis together with Google satellite maps, annotated maps, description, and so forth. So, I don't give up on these things, and the more they try to slow me down, the more I go after it. I don't know if Mr. Altieri is going to talk on what he's going to discuss in utility stuff, but I just have a couple quick items. I put out a piece on the dais that says White Lake Township tries muni sale again after hackers stole deal proceeds. What happened was there was a small township in the state of Michigan. They did a bond deal for about $30 million, and someone hacked into their email system, sent an email, and it's not exactly clear, I believe sent an email to the bond underwriter when the bonds were done and redirected the money. So I have brought this up to one council person over at Vero Beach, since they're going to be doing a deal and giving a massive disarray, and that's a kind word, in their finance department. I want them to be thinking about stuff like this. Now, I worked in the bond business from 78 until I retired in 2014. This is the first time I ever came across this. So, but roughly $7 to $9 million has not been recovered at this point. So I'm going to bring that to their attention. The last thing that you have on the table here, and again, Mr. Altieri may have additional comments than I do, is a memoranda for their water reclamation facility, the guaranteed maximum price award. So this was a project that started, initially they were talking about $52 million, went to 177. It's somewhat lower than that right now. And I highlighted some of the things in the document, the descriptions, but here is my greater concern. Well, actually, before I get that, if you go to the last page, you'll see that now the price, instead of being 177, supposedly is approximately 164. They have approximately 38 million in grants, and so it's a total of $126 million. So this contract is, and I'll just read the paragraph, it's pretty short. A guaranteed maximum price, GMP, is a construction manager at risk delivery contract, means the highest amount an owner will be required to pay a contractor for a project, regardless of the actual cost incurred during construction. Essentially, it sets a ceiling price beyond which the contractor absorbs any additional cost, effectively transferring the risk of cost overruns to the construction manager. That sounds great. Here's my problem. If you go, I'm sorry, these pages are unnumbered by the originator. If you go to the section where there is the table, I just have to read this to you. Furthermore, the contingency amount of $11.4 million was mutually agreed upon during our discussions with water and sewer staff at the GMP3 draft review. A contingency amount is a sum of money set aside to cover unforeseen costs or changes that may occur during the project's lifeline. These include unexpected site conditions, design errors, material shortages, or changes requested by the owner. The contingency acts as a risk mitigation against potential risk and uncertainty, especially in a large, complex project. Now, here's the sentence that really disturbs me. Furthermore, the contingency amount will be reevaluated at different milestones of the project and adjusted accordingly. So is the guaranteed maximum price or isn't it? So I have a feeling, you correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, that you guys probably won't have a utility commission meeting before council votes for this?
There will not be another.
Yeah, okay, so I think I'm gonna have to go down to the meeting in which they approve this and say, is it truly a contingency? Because as we all know, dealing with the city of Vero Beach, and you know, even when a contract is written well, they don't abide by it. You know, what exactly that means? Because that really disturbs me. Now, there could be a situation where the owner, meaning the city of Vero Beach, makes a huge change, and I could get that. But I'm worried about other things. They're going to talk about tariffs. They're going to, a lightning strike nearby. You can just imagine the things there. So, given that we're the ones that are going to pay for this monstrosity, I'm really quite concerned about that. So.
Well, the one entry to the benefit, and I'm not quite sure how to construe this, is that when we last met, the commission last met, there was not only the contingency, but there was an escalator, and the escalator was $5.5 million. And that was as of January 2025. And now in May, that has been zeroed.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure why it's been zeroed, but that's a significant difference in the calculation. But bottom line is that the project now is probably going to be well north of $163 million. And when it was first proposed in 2021, my memory was that it was $51 million. So the escalation that's occurred over a period of 4 years is, to say the least, stunning. So hopefully they'll try to, I agree with your comments about the GMP, but there are some obviously trapdoors here, and we'll see how significantly they fall through them.
That's it for me.
All right, well, thank you. Just two observations. Thank you for bringing that to the attention. Questions I would have are that, you know, the contingencies seem to be swallowing up the guarantee not to exceed construction price. I mean, the language against potential risk and uncertainties, you know, you know, any unexpected site conditions where there was a sewage treatment plant next to a diesel-operated plant for so many years. I mean, my goodness. And then the other question I would have, and again, this is a subject I stayed away from in law school, was, well, it sounds all great, but what if the contractor is on the hook for the overrun costs and they go bankrupt? Who's on the hook? We just have a hole in the ground, or I can't imagine that the bond would be sufficient to cover substantial overruns. Mr. Sweeney, do you have a thought on that?
Mr. Mayor, this is a very sophisticated area of the law, and over the last 20 years has continued to develop on large projects, not just in Florida, but throughout the country. But typically, they try to bond and protect as much as possible, but it's impossible. As my colleagues that are attorneys know, you could write a 1,000-page contract, and there's always going to be an exception. So the reality is, this is the best it sounds like they can do.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Again, we're kind of passengers in the back seat without a seatbelt on this ride. So we are in a.
I think we're in the trunk, but
it's possible, yeah. But you know, we just have to, you know, do the best we can to point things out in a constructive way. Hopefully, they'll, you know, the city will see our comments as in the spirit of cooperation and constructive comments, so that you know, it's the benefit not just for us, but all the ratepayers in the city of Vero Beach too. So you know, they're going to be on the hook for this as well. All right, thank you very much. Anything else from council? Okay, we have discussion with possible or probable action, item 8, which is an ordinance number 579, mandatory structural inspections for condominium and cooperative buildings. This is a first reading. Just by way of background, this is what we call an unfunded mandate. So the legislature passed a statute which has not been presented to the governor for signature yet, but it does have an effective date of July 1. So if we are to comply with this unfunded mandate, we need to have an ordinance in place specifying, you know, what we're going to do to comply with the statute. And essentially, an unfunded mandate is something the legislature tells us to do pursuant to a state statute that we get all the responsibility before, but none of the money. So this will fall in the building department to comply with what are called structural integrity reserve study compliance matters, which is that if there's a structural problem in a condominium covered by state statute, that the condominium associations have undertaken the necessary repairs. So thank you, Mr. Held. I don't want to overstate this. I don't think we have many of these here, maybe one or two condominium associations that may have filed reports where they have to do something.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, that's correct. The two condos.
did you push the button?
Two condos at this point, Mr. Mayor, have submitted phase 2 inspection reports, milestone inspection reports.
All right, and you know, I know I went through this with our town manager, but fortunately, because of the low number of you know, one or two entities, you don't really see this as a huge administrative burden, so long as we have no additional mandates put on us in this regard. It's basically just checking to make sure that they did what they were supposed to do.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay, terrific, thank you.
How many condominiums, so the statute applies to condominiums or cooperatives that exceed 3 stories?
Currently, that is correct.
And I heard you say there are 2 associations. How many condominiums in the shores exceed 3 stories?
46 total fall under the condo co-op and exceed are 3 stories or more in height and fall under the condo co-op statute and would require a milestone inspection.
Okay.
So fortunately, most don't have a don't have a structural integrity issue. It's just 1 or 2. So okay.
Yeah, the 2 that had to file and we received the phase 2 milestone inspection reports, the issues that we have with the 2 condos, they're not life safety issues. Again, they're not significant structural damage that exists to those 2 buildings, but the PEs that inspected the buildings felt that there's a substantial evidence that they need to go ahead and fix the issues that exist.
Great. Okay, thank you. So, I guess my bottom line here is that and we'll get to the formal reading of the statute, the proposed ordinance rather, we need to be prepared to do this just for compliance. And hopefully the legislature won't next session start piling on more and more responsibilities on local building departments to do this because, again, we don't get compensation from the state to do this and it adds to our workload. So thank you for taking on the added responsibility and thank you to the 44 associations that don't have structural integrity problems because otherwise it would be, an administrative nightmare and I can just imagine how this is going to impact other municipalities that fall within the purview of the statute. So before we get to the reading and discussion from council, while he's up, does anybody have a question, additional question for Mr. Held?
Those 6 buildings that you refer to, the statute also indicates that it only applies to those that are 30 years old or older.
That's correct, but because we're so close to the coastline, it falls within the 25-year span.
25 standard, right?
Yes, sir.
And each of those 46 is more than 25 years since their certificate of occupancy?
Out of the 46 buildings, there are 2 that are less than the 25-year-old, that are less than 25 years old, put it that way.
Thanks. For you, Pete, which is the original statute 553 and section 11 said a board of county commissioners or a municipal governing body may adopt an ordinance, and I haven't seen the amendment. Does the amendment make that shall?
Yes, sir. That's exactly right. It's in page, I apologize. It's in section, well, it's in the actual statute, but again, we're in compliance with following that mandatory language. The statute will make it shall, which would be an imposition on us as a municipality. And so that's the purpose of this.
Okay.
Move to it. Okay, thank you. We'll try to have your 6. Okay, we'll continue to do what we can in discussions with our local legislators to let them know that these things continue to take its toll on manpower. But we're not in the best position to do it. Fortunately, unfortunately, other municipalities that are really going to be burdened by this have. But the trend that's happening is they're finding ways to tighten up this stuff and throw it back to the local building departments to enforce these things. So thank you for all you do for us. So, all right, Mr. Sweeney, do you want to read, unless there's anything else from council, do you want to do the magic read of the ordinance?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Mayor, Town Council, this is ordinance number 579, an ordinance of the Town of Indian River Shores, Florida, amending the Town of Indian River Shores Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 150 Building Regulations by adding Section 150.077 milestone inspections to provide for activity relating to mandatory structural inspections for condominium and cooperative buildings, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date. This is the first reading. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, is there any further discussion from council on this? No. I have points of clarification. And that is just, I know the answers to these questions, just to let everybody know, but I want to make sure, it's out for the public. In the event that the governor issues a memorandum saying he's not going to sign this between now and the next meeting, or it's not presented to the governor for signature by July 1, we can dispense with the second reading, and we don't have an ordinance on the books that we don't need, correct?
That is correct, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. If no action is taken before the June meeting, the governor, because there's no time frame in which the governor has to have a bill presented or sign it, we can adopt it, but then by simple resolution we can repeal it if before the next legislative session there's no action on the bill.
Mr. Mayor, in section 7, page 2 of it, you will see the forethought. This is based on the statute becoming effective, but it also says the saving language subject to the governor signing HB 913 into law.
All right, so you've anticipated it. Terrific, thank you. All right, I guess we need a roll call vote on this. Oh, I'm sorry, is there anybody from the public who wants to have a discussion on this? Mr. Held, you don't count. I know you don't like this, but unfortunately you don't get a say in this, so.
Mr. Mayor, you just need a motion.
Okay. All right, nothing? All right, is there a motion and a second?
So moved. Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Foley?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Atwater?
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll? Aye. Councilmember Altieri?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Let the record show the motion passed unanimously.
We have staff updates, building official report and statistics. Welcome back up. Mr. Held?
Yes, sir. I do not have anything additional to add for the monthly report.
Terrific. Take the rest of the day off, all right? So.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Just kidding on that. So, code enforcement report, please.
Good morning. The only update I have is to item 7, which is regarding the second lighting survey for the sea turtles. That was completed on May 13th with only 4 properties being in violation, and 2 of those are repeat. Notices will be sent to them saying they are in violation and it needs to be rectified. Other than that, I have no other updates.
All right, terrific. Thank you for keeping our community pristine, as they say. So your work is appreciated. Anything for Mr. Mike Kranz? No? Okay. Public Works Department report. You want to do that, Mr. Harpring? Okay.
Council, other than what's on the report, just want to note that it is in the report, but we did have hurricane preparation meeting. We're all very fortunate to have a lot of very experienced people here in this regard, so we're all squared away there. Other than that, there's nothing additional for Public Works. Unless there's any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Anything for Mr. Harpring wearing the hat of Public Works?
I should know the answer to this, but I don't. What's the work that's going on A1A?
On North A1A, they're redoing the, I want to say rumble strips. I'll defer to you.
Only because I was involved with this bike walk in Indian River County. There was a test on the part of FDOT to place AVT, audio vibratory, I forget what the T stands for, on the roads to alert a motorist if they went off the road. The problem was they put them in the wrong spot. So there's like a double white line that goes up the side of the road. It was supposed to be placed right in the middle there. Instead, they moved it off to the right, so it actually had the effect of narrowing the bike lane. That was the first problem. Problem number 2 was when they did them, they were very inconsistent. So if your bike tire hits it, you get an incredible vibration, and people have actually fallen over and so forth. So FDOT decided to not put them in. They are in the process of not removing them, but basically putting asphalt in to smooth it out so you can't see it. So it's a problem. up by Johns Island, and then they did a bunch down in St. Lucie County along A1A that they've been working on. So it was a total snafu. The contractor made a huge mistake, and it may put the contractor out of business as a result.
But are they going to put those vibrator things back in?
No, they have given up, at least in this area, at this point.
All right, thank you. Town Treasurer report.
Just as an update to stuff that's not in my report, unless you have any questions regarding my report. We are currently we went live on May 15th with our ambulance billing with our contractor. We're working out some kinks, but I think we're doing pretty well with that. And then we're also, as you can tell, testing our new AV system. So the sound, I can hear it pretty well from the audience. And as a final update, I am working on trying to finalize the budget. There's a couple more assumptions I'm making, including this budget resolution that you just approved that I want to include. We have a finance committee meeting on June 5th, and I hope to get it to them late next week so that there's time to review it. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Anything for our Town Treasurer?
Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Public Safety Department, Chief.
Good morning. It is the season for us to go through a number of evaluations on the services we provide. We have an ISO evaluation that's going to take place next week, and the ISO actually is an agency that establishes the insurance rates for the community and gives you a community rating. It's only done once every 10 years, and I believe we're going to be able to maintain our current rating without any difficulty. We have been pulling together all the information for that, sending it in advance, and they had some conversations with the inspector that's going to be coming down to do that evaluation. We have a state EMS audit that's going to take place next month, and don't anticipate any issues with that. It's basically checking equipment, run reports, certifications of personnel, those types of things. We recently, this past month, we've had a uniform traffic citation audit, the first time that the agency has ever had that done. They found no discrepancies and no issues in that audit, and we went through that without any difficulty at all. As Ms. Christmas indicated, the EMS billing went live on the 15th. There's some minor catch-up things that we're trying to get straightened out, but the reports are being transferred over in the appropriate manner. We received a notification that we had some duplicate reports, so we're going back to double check those, and that was as of Wednesday of this week. And construction has slowed over at the building, but we do have some activity that's going on. The canopy area by Public Works is about at 95%, so that should be buttoned up here shortly. The security equipment installs, the door passes, those types of things, and cameras are proceeding this past week and moving forward with that. We've identified a couple of issues that we need to get straightened out. One is with the new AC system that was put in, and our ability to have the AC maintenance contractors be able to get to the unit and be able to fix that. So they're going to make a modification to that. And the hood and the sensors that are in the kitchen area have been going back and forth between contractors, between the general contractor and the electricians and the alarm companies, trying to get all that straightened out. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Starting with Councilman Dane, anything? Councilman Altieri?
I just want to make a general comment about all these reports with the statistics or code enforcement violations. I don't know if you folks on the dais are aware, but the DOJ office has been asking some municipalities for how do you measure services that are being done and so forth. I think we're probably so far ahead of the curve on this compared to other communities. I was at the Beach and Shores meeting the other day, and I was discussing with a council person from Sebastian. They're trying to scramble and put these things together, and we've had them for years. So I think that serves us well, because there's a theory out there, which I think makes a lot of sense, particularly because my wife came up with it, is that What might be behind this is we all know that certain legislators and other people up in Tallahassee want to eliminate or substantially reduce the property tax. And she thought, well, maybe they're collecting this information and say, well, you guys really aren't doing that much in these municipalities. And look, here's the results, because they don't have any reports showing what they're doing each and every single month. So I think it's good that we have that. So that's all. I'll make that comment.
Thank you. No, excellent point. And I agree. I think most of us are interested in what other municipalities are doing as part of our jobs, and whether large or small, they don't have the, let's call it granular data that we have, and we're in terrific shape for that. And also on our business impact studies for everything we do, so we can thank our town attorney for that. We're in great shape. So thank you for that comment, Vice Mayor, and point well taken. Item number 10, Town Attorney Report. Mr. Sweeney, I understand you have a multimedia presentation, should last no more than an hour. And
Mr. Mayor, Council, if that happens, then the world has ended. If we could queue up, I have a very brief PowerPoint just to go over the status of where we are for the 2025 legislative session. As we talked about at our last meeting, and we can go to the next slide. It began on May 2nd. There were 1,951 bills introduced this year. That's about on par for a standard year for a legislative session. It was supposed to end on May 2nd, which we talked about at our last meeting. However, the only thing the legislature is required to do is pass a budget, which they did not do within that time frame. As a result of that, a joint resolution was approved extending the session until June 6th. As part of that, the only thing they are addressing in this joint session through June 6th is budget items, and a very select reserved amount of about 10 to 15 other bills that are arguably related to the budget, such as state employee benefits, health insurance for state employees. They do have to pass one by the 30th. If they do not, then we would most likely have a government shutdown in Florida. We've never had one in Florida. The closest we ever got at the state level was in 1992. A couple of years ago in 2015, it became very close, but we've never had one. If we did have one, it would, much like the federal shutdown, stop all non-essential services. Essential services, law enforcement, Department of Corrections would continue. Again, Mr. Harpring is well aware of it. There's nothing we can do about it other than be aware and track it. On the legislative side, if we can move to the next slide, of the 1951, only 217 bills were passed on both houses. And even that's a little bit misleading. Some of those are, most of those are local bills, such as a claims bill or a bill that would only affect, say, Collier County or Pasco County. Of those 217 that have passed both the Senate and the House side requirement, only 65 so far have been presented to the governor and signed by the governor. And again, probably 98% of those are local in nature. There is, such as the fluoride removal and water. There's a handful, but none of which really direct the operations of the town of Indian River Shores. Many are waiting to be presented, and as the mayor said, there is no time frame for presentation to the governor, so they could present them a month from now, 6 months from now. When they are presented to the governor, assuming we are out of session, he would then have 15 days to either sign it or allow it, if he doesn't sign it, to become law of its own volition. He, of course, can veto it, and then there would be an opportunity if the legislature wanted to come back and sign it. They could override the veto with a vote of the requirement under the statute and the Constitution. But in short, there are 100, as of this morning, as of right now, there are 160, I believe, 8 still ready to be presented to the governor. Currently, there are 28 sitting on his desk within the last 7 days, going back to the 16th. As you've seen over the last couple of years, our governor typically will sign these in batches. He will often have a public relations type of stop in a different part of the state when he's introducing them. But as was mentioned earlier, he has not even been presented with 913, which was the substance of the ordinance we did a first reading on. And there are a lot more that have effective dates coming up, even retroactive effective dates, that just simply have not been presented to him yet. As a corollary to all of that, the summary of what could be signed by the governor has been held back by the Florida Municipal Attorneys Association, corollary to the Florida League of Cities. They're following it, but almost all of them say waiting for final execution or not. So I continue to stay on top of this. I'm happy to answer any questions that would come up, but again, we're doing our best to track all of these nearly 200 different pieces of legislation. So.
Any questions? One.
Yes.
Sovereign immunity, municipal tort liability.
It died.
It died.
Yes, sir.
So, that was a great concern to increase the limit that municipality could be sued. Either have to try to go out and get additional insurance or self-insure, which would have been very expensive for us. So thankfully, okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Sweeney. Town Manager, Mr. Harper.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. I don't have anything, excuse me, additional for the meeting about which to inform the council, the public, but I would like to note, personally, my great thanks and appreciation for Janice and all of her work to continue the town clerk party. She's just such an integral part of everything that goes on around here with everyone, and brought with her so much institutional knowledge, from her past experience. We're just grateful for it, and thank you, Janice. That's all I have, sir.
All right, thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
And thank you, Janice. Any items for Mr. Harpering? Okay, you're off the hook easy today. Item 12, council committee reports and non-action items. Let's start with Councilmember Dane. We'll move from right to left on your committees.
I got it. Yeah, Janice and I attended the Florida League of Cities, pardon the voice, yesterday. They talked, we had a great presentation by a fellow named Paul Gray from the Audubon Society regarding water discharge, all three directions from Lake Okeechobee, and the effect of which they claim could be devastating to whichever report you read. You'll get a different take on it maybe. But it was a very, very nice presentation, which maybe we could get him to come up here sometime and make it for us. They were very concerned about 4 legislative issues that did not pass this time, and I think it's just a follow-up here on what was mentioned before, that would all pretty much eliminate ad valorem tax income to cities and towns. Most of or especially the smaller towns, feel that would be economically disastrous for them, because it's usually amounts to over 90% of their income. So unless they've got some type of an alternative, they say that they're going to have trouble. I listened to their reasoning, and frankly, it was difficult to follow it and then buy it totally. They said that none of the 4 made it this term, but they're going to come loaded for bear next term to get it through. So they feel like they've made strides. The one thing they're frightened of is if one of them ends up on the ballot, because not too many taxpayers are going to vote against a proposed statute that's entitled, less taxes. They want to cut taxes. So if that's the gist of it, they're afraid that would pass easily. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. They're texting me the 4 statutes in their entirety, and I'm going to follow the line of that they took through the legislature. If anything further develops, I'll report it. The big thing, fellows, is and all of our people, July the 16th at the first United Methodist Church in Okeechobee is the annual barbecue for elected officials. I haven't been, but before I took the bench, Mayor Foley told me that's one of the best perks of this position, that it's one of the best places. I asked yesterday, being July 16th, I said, when they call it a picnic, I said, is this outside? It could be a little, they said, no, it's air conditioned. But they did want to say, when you get your invitation, whoever it may be, to make your meat selection at the time, so they don't have to run it down at the last minute. I guess they need to know how many pigs need to meet their demise and how many cows and, you know, chickens. So please make your meat selection. I thought that was not just a menu selection, a meat selection. So all in all, when we come to a lot of the issues that the League of City discusses and comes to, I find myself personally a little on the other side of the table from most of the other representatives. In fact, I think the first time that they took a vote, it's normal that that's just all ayes. Well, when they came to mine and they got a nay, I saw heads jerk around and like, well, you're not supposed to do that. But I think it's just the unique situation that Indian River Shores finds itself in, the way we've run our city, the very good and efficient way we fund everything, and the way Ms. Christmas runs that department. I find some counties and the towns and small cities, they aren't nearly as well run as we are. So I find myself, like I said, on the other side of the table on some of those issues, but that's my personal opinion. I try to look at what is best for our community, and if I feel it isn't the best thing for our community, I vote against it. But I'm sort of outnumbered, and then on the record again, I want to say that Janice has been really nice to drive me. I've had an issue where I haven't been driving for a couple of months, and she's taken me to the out of town thing. So thanks, Janice. I appreciate that, and it gives her an opportunity to sit the way they have it seated. The board members sit separately from other town council or town managers and clerks, and so she gets an opportunity to have one-on-one with other communities, and I think it's a really good take she gets. I think she gets more out of it than maybe I did, but thank you again, and that's my report.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. There was no Utilities Commission meeting in the month of May, so the next action will actually be at the City Council on the 27th.
All right. First of all, Councilman Dane, I have also voted no at the League of Cities, which is, why I thank you for taking over that responsibility, because it does not go over well. I don't know if you were on League of Cities, anybody else, but they do have agenda items that are driven for larger municipalities that are contrary to our interests. And I did raise the notion of maybe we should have a, smaller municipality section, because it seems that our interests are more aligned than larger ones. You can imagine how that went over. So thank you for doing it. And that's our responsibility, is to vote against things that are primarily against the taxpayers' interest, which, if we're running the town properly, is consistent with what the town is doing. Treasure Coast Council of Local Governments May meeting, it was Mental Health Awareness Month, and that was noted. When it was mentioned it was Mental Health Awareness Month, all elected officials started looking at each other like, is it you? Is it you? But we have a lot of local resources that we can rely on if us or a loved one or family members or neighbors look to be having issues. The Live Local statute, which was alluded to, I believe, earlier, is going to be a challenge, not necessarily for us, but other communities. Basically, it's a super preemption of local municipalities' ability to adopt zoning laws restricting things all the way up to height. And in our community, we have height restrictions that have kept us very different and I believe more desirable than other municipalities and counties. So we need to keep an eye on that. There's a bill to suspend what is referred to as ZIP. I don't think that passed. I think that failed, and that's zoning in progress, which basically allows flexibility to do things before they happen. There was a presentation by the Farm Bureau of Florida. Fun facts you learn at these meetings. Farming is a $200 billion industry in Florida. That's pretty staggering. The reference was made to the best beef at the Florida, in Florida at the League of Cities thing, and I think, I didn't write it down, but I think Florida's in the top 5 now in terms of cattle producing states, which is pretty interesting. You'd think it'd be too hot for cows, but apparently not. That's about it. We have, there was one item, I'm just trying to look at my notes, bear with me. So there is a, there's a, we can pass on that. There was a pending bill that was going to limit the ability of tourism taxes, and that failed, so we don't need to worry about that. So that's it for my report. Vice Mayor?
Just one quick thing from the Beach and Shores Committee. The Sector 4 sand, the final cost came back, was originally projected to be about approximately at least $6.6 million. There was some contingency built in, and it ended up coming in about roughly $1.5 million lower. So that was some good news, and that was it.
Terrific. Councilman Carroll?
Yes, I attended the Economic Development Council meeting on the 20th. It was a relatively short meeting. 2 primary items on the agenda. The first was a presentation given by one of the members of the committee of the planning staff for the county about new businesses that are on the verge of coming here. I found it to be interesting and a big tease because they describe these businesses so eloquently, major impact to the county in both cases, but they wouldn't even disclose the nature of the business, much less the name of the company. So there was a veil of secrecy there, which I thought was, I didn't quite understand. The second was a roundtable discussion about how to improve the meeting, these meetings, and suffice to say that there were no recommendations made by any member of the committee to improve on what is very close to perfection from that austere group. So that completes my report.
Time for call to the audience. Does anybody have any comments or corrections to our collective patting ourselves on the back for such a good job that we do? No? If there's nothing, thank you. We'll adjourn the meeting and we will see you all in June. So thank you.